Hi everyone, what's up? AB Squad, this is the boy about. Welcome to the family. Welcome back to AB React. Guys, today I'm here to bring to you a very special video. So today I'm going to check out a video titled Douglas Murray shuts up Muslim girl and dismantled her case in a debate. Of course, I can't wait to see this, guys. So you know you're ready. Do also hit your like button, join the family, join AB React by clicking on the subscribe button and then on the notification bell so you don't miss out whenever I upload a video. If you have recommendations, suggestions, guys, always do well to leave it right there in the comment section. Alright, AB Squad, let's do this, guys.
There is a saying we have, damned if you do and damned if you don't. I think we've got to be very careful that we don't end up lambasting the freest and most generous countries.
You're about to watch Douglas Murray address an accusation thrown against Europe, and by extension, white people, that what they do for Africa boils down to a white saviour complex. Now that's pretty shocking, isn't it? In a debate that happened years ago in Doha, the floor was opened for the audience to ask questions. One of them, a Muslim lady named Asma from Kenya, turned to Douglas and said,
"And do you think it's judicious for these people in Britain, for example, you talked about how Britain is giving aid to these countries in Africa, it's judicious for them to give this much money to these countries but without even listening to their needs? So this only contributes to the white saviour complex that is currently a big issue in..."
Before we get into Douglas's epic response, let me quickly jump in and define what white saviour complex means, seeing that's an epithet that's being thrown around a lot these days. The term refers to white people helping black people only to look like white saviours. The suggestion is that the helper only wants to feel good about his good deeds and does not care about the person whom he is assisting at all. Now, here is how Douglas responded to this sort of accusation. He, straight up, wasn't having any of it.
Well, there is a saying we have, damned if you do and damned if you don't. If it's the case that if we don't give aid, we'd be accused of not giving aid, and if we do give aid, it's a white saviour complex.
But then, Douglas conceded to one thing.
We can all give aid better, for sure, and I just gave, in my opening remarks, what I think was a serious suggestion for one very good use of aid, which is to prioritise it in the region and in the neighbouring countries of places people are fleeing from. But, I mean, as I say, I would refuse as well to see the multifarious problems that exist in your own home country and sadly across the continent of Africa.
Back to Douglas in a sec. Why was the lady so quick to point fingers at Europe's magnanimity for the myriads of problems plaguing her country, and by extension, the continent of Africa? Are we to be blamed for the current political instabilities?
First of all, I would say I really want to understand what Douglas really said about this whole stuff.
And subscribe to our channel for more videos on Douglas Murray's provocative debates. Next, another person in the audience claims that the main reason migrants are moving to Europe is because wealth is moving out of the developing world in form of debt repayment to the developed world. Here's how Douglas responded to that.
No, I don't. Again, I repeat the fact there are no simple answers. And if it was simply the fact that you could, I don't know, do debt default or something and solve the whole migration issue, then that would be great. But it just isn't the case.
Now watch as Douglas hits the nail at the head with these rhetorical questions.
You think that if for instance, all African countries were allowed to default on debt, that they'd become burgeoning, flourishing societies? You think that the problem across, for instance, sub-Saharan Africa isn't just unbelievable greed and theft by politician after politician? You think...
There you have it. But Douglas wasn't quite done.
You think that if you just wrote off the debt, that would stop being an issue and everyone would become transparent and clean in their dealings with money? I mean, the problems are much deeper than this. They're much deeper than just a simple solution like that.
Granted,
I think at this point he really he was really making sense.
Historically, Europe colonised foreign countries for reasons ranging from persecution in their own countries to the search for riches and economic benefits. But then, it is really easy to simplify and accept biased information instead of being open-minded. It's quite untrue to believe that European countries were the only ones to conquer and colonise others. Every region has done similar atrocities against others, if you go back in time far enough. But that's by the way. Now, one of the debaters sitting across from Douglas, another anti-Europe activist, made a point which drew a resounding applause from the crowd.
Something
we call
constructive that we can add
brown
on.
people migrants. We call white people who go abroad to work expats. This is really important, right?
However, Douglas, as if he had prepared ahead of time for her point, gave a response that was both fitting and truthful.
Firstly, by the way, migrants versus expats, there's a very clear reason. It's expected, rightly or wrongly, that expats don't stay in the country and bring up their families and stay for generations. The assumption with migrants is...
If I may ask, why do they actually do that? Because I know they don't actually rate people that migrate to countries, from what the other debaters said, saying that, sometimes they actually rate the expats more than the migrants. But why is it that way?
Currently has been in recent generations, that they are going to stay and that it's going to be a multi-generational thing.
Personally, I think calling these people refugees is according them respect that they do not deserve. In reality, most of them are actually callous invaders, whereas some refugees may intend to leave for home as soon as possible. Invaders intend to stay and take over. So the present group of refugees certainly belongs to the latter, and hopes of integration are misplaced since they won't, as we can see in the Turks in Germany and the Maghreb refugees in France. No multicultural society in history ever survived for long, and typically ended up with one group massacring the other, as the most recent example of Hutus and Tutsis in Rwanda showed us. To expect otherwise is sheer arrogance or simply insanity. Next, Douglas turns to everyone on stage, throwing shade at Europeans, and asks a question that leaves the whole audience speechless.
I think we've got to be very, very careful that we don't end up lambasting the freest and most generous countries. And I would just urge, as a call to, as it were, moral caution on this, urge you in this room and people watching, how many people have you made citizens of Qatar from Syria? How many? Okay.
You could have heard a pin drop in the room.
At this point, everyone is silent. I think he actually has a point there. Everyone is actually silent. No one could even say anything.
Now, the truth of the matter is that Europeans are pacifists. We are, generally speaking, liberals in our thinking. This is why we assume that everyone is as kind, respectful and educated as we are, because we all have our heads in the sand and can't face the reality that we opened our borders to our enemies. I mean, the same people from the East and South we give money to actually hate us and our culture. I mean, let's face it. Islam hates Western liberal culture. They consider the West degenerate and pornographic. But it's too late to stop them from coming since they are already here. Worse still, many of them now have voting rights. That's game over. Now, guys, it's high time we all stood up and demand a change. What are your thoughts on this? Should Europe continue to accept so many refugees? Let us know what you think in the comments section.
That was a very tough question she actually asked. Should Europe continue to accept migrants? I think if they actually have, maybe should I say space, because, some people are also willing to, leave their country to Europe, but, there are some protocols, there are some, things you need to do if you want to go in the other form. But going as a refugee sometimes makes things easy for people, in the sense that they don't really need to spend a lot. But I don't know, from my own opinion, if they actually have some space, if they really want to continue doing that, they can go ahead and do that. So guys, at this point, let me know what you think about this video in the comment section. Let me know your own thoughts. Like, whoa, it's good to do this. Like, I really gain a lot about this video. Like, get to see things about this video. And let me know your own thoughts in the comment section if you really enjoyed this video, and if you did, do also smash the like button, join the family, join AB React by clicking on the subscribe button and then on your notification bell so you don't miss out whenever I react to any video. And also, if you have recommendations, suggestion, guys, always do also leave it right there in the comment section. Alright, every square, I can't wait to see you in my next video. Until then, stay safe, stay blessed, and don't go away, don't touch that dial. Bye guys.